On a distant planet known for its extreme toxicity, the Xilarian research vessel Aurora was spiraling toward disaster alarms, blared as systems failed, and crew members rushed to their stations. The atmosphere outside glowed with hues of green and purple. Toxic gases swirled, creating an otherworldly landscape visible through the cracked viewport. The captain, a seasoned explorer named Tarek, struggled to maintain control of the ship. The ship shuddered as it hit the ground with a bone-rattling crash, scattering debris and sending a shockwave through the cabin. As the dust settled, the crew assessed their dire situation. The ship was damaged and communications were down. They were stranded in a hostile environment. Tarek called for a quick evaluation of their surroundings, his voice steady despite the chaos. The scientists gathered their gear and prepared for an exploration mission. They needed to assess the damage and find a way to survive in this toxic wasteland. Emerging from the wreckage, the crew was immediately struck by the planet's atmosphere, thick with acrid fumes and strange colors. They donned their protective suits and moved cautiously through the ruins of their ship. It was then that they noticed movement in the distance. A figure appeared silhouetted against the swirling mists. It was a human male, seemingly at ease in the perilous surroundings. He moved with a grace that belied the dangers that lurked in every corner. The crew exchanged astonished glances. Could this be a survivor from an earlier expedition, or an inhabitant of this treacherous world? The human appeared unbothered by the toxins that would incapacitate any Xilarian within minutes. As they watched, he began to gather strange plants from the ground. Inspecting them carefully, the researchers were transfixed by his actions. He was a living testament to survival in a death world. Curiosity outweighed caution as Tarek decided to approach the figure slowly and deliberately, signaling to his crew to follow. They were acutely aware of the potential dangers, yet something about the human's demeanor intrigued them. He looked up as they approached, his expression a mixture of curiosity and caution. Tarek introduced himself and his crew in a friendly tone, hoping to establish communication. The human responded in a language that was both foreign and strangely familiar, a blend of sounds that resonated with life experience. The crew soon realized that their translator devices were struggling to interpret his speech, but the human's body language conveyed his intention. He was willing to engage. It became clear he was a survivor forged by the challenges of his homeworld. As they began to communicate, the researchers were captivated by his resilience. He explained how he had adapted to the lethal environment. Over years of living on this planet, his body had developed a unique resistance to the toxins that permeated the air. He described how he had learned to identify and utilize local flora for sustenance, revealing a depth of knowledge that impressed the crew. The Xilarians were astonished. How could one being thrive in a place where life was a constant battle against death? They began to record their observations, eager to learn more about this remarkable individual. He spoke of the challenges he faced, the trials that shaped him, and the lessons learned through survival. The researchers felt a mix of admiration and wonder at this human who defied the odds. As the sun set, casting an eerie glow over the landscape, the crew realized they had stumbled upon something extraordinary. This encounter could change their understanding of life, resilience, and the very nature of survival. They were no longer just researchers on a toxic world. They had found a bridge between two species, a connection that transcended their differences and opened the door to unprecedented discoveries. Together, they would explore the depths of resilience in a universe where life fought against all odds. As night descended on the toxic planet, the atmosphere shifted. The colors deepened into vibrant shades of violet and blue. The alien researchers gathered around the human, now seated on a large rock, surrounded by the remnants of their wrecked ship. Tarek motioned for his crew to spread out, creating a secure perimeter. While they engaged in conversation, the human's name was revealed to be Alex, and his story began to unfold. He described the desolation of Earth, where survival meant constant adaptation. He spoke of harsh climates and fierce predators that pushed humanity to innovate in ways unimaginable to the Xilarians. His tales painted a picture of resilience, forged in the crucible of hardship. The crew listened intently, their scientific curiosity piqued by his experiences. One researcher named Lyra was particularly fascinated. She stepped forward, her eyes bright with interest. She asked Alex about the plants he had gathered earlier, eager to understand how he had learned to identify the safe from the toxic. Alex smiled and explained how survival necessitated learning from trial and error. He had spent years studying the flora, experimenting with different species to find those that could sustain him. The crew was amazed as he demonstrated the properties of several plants, pulling leaves and roots from his makeshift satchel. He crushed one leaf, and its juices glistened under the strange light of the planet. The scent was surprisingly sweet. He offered it to Lyra, who cautiously took a bite. A flavor burst in her mouth, rich and invigorating. She could hardly believe this was possible on a death world. Encouraged by their growing camaraderie, Tarek suggested they conduct a small experiment to further explore Alex's biological resilience. He proposed to gather samples from the local flora and analyze their chemical compositions to better understand how they interacted with Alex's unique biology. The human agreed, though he remained wary of further invasive procedures. As they worked together, the researchers documented Alex's movements and reactions meticulously. The crew was fascinated by how he moved through the toxic terrain with confidence and agility. They followed him closely, noting how he navigated around hazardous plants while selecting those that appeared safe to consume. With each passing hour, the bond between the crew and Alex deepened. They exchanged knowledge and insights. Lyra shared stories of Silurian innovations in technology, while Alex spoke of human creativity in art and survival. The differences in their cultures became a source of fascination rather than division. But the night brought challenges as well. The air thickened with clouds of toxic gas, forcing the crew to retreat to their ship temporarily. Tarek and his team worked quickly to create a safe haven for Alex inside the remnants of the Aurora. They activated the environmental shields, ensuring they could continue their research without succumbing to the harsh conditions outside. As they settled in for the night, Tarek couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter was only the beginning. The potential for discovery was limitless, and they stood on the precipice of something transformative. They were no longer just researchers studying the death world. They were allies embarking on a shared journey into the unknown. Alex felt the warmth of their camaraderie. For the first time in years, he had found kindred spirits willing to understand and learn from one another. The isolation he had endured began to fade as he realized they were not here to exploit him, but to explore the intricacies of life itself in a universe that often seemed indifferent. The researchers shared stories late into the night. Laughter echoed through the ship as they forged connections that transcended their differences, each tale woven into the fabric of understanding and respect. A new chapter was unfolding before them, where human resilience met alien curiosity, setting the stage for discoveries that would challenge everything they believed about life in the cosmos. As dawn broke over the toxic landscape, a faint glow illuminated the remnants of the Aurora, revealing a stark contrast between the wreckage and the vibrant flora surrounding them. The crew awoke to the sound of Alex moving about outside, his silhouette outlined against the colorful vegetation. Tarek emerged first, eager to observe the humans' morning routine. Alex was already gathering plants with a practiced ease. He moved swiftly through the underbrush, selecting specimens with a keen eye. Tarek watched in awe as the human's instinctual understanding of the environment unfolded before him. This was a unique opportunity to study resilience in action, a living demonstration of adaptation and survival. Once the crew had assembled, they approached Alex, who greeted them with a nod and a smile. He held out a handful of bright blueberries that glistened in the morning light. "These are safe to eat," he declared, his confidence evident. Lyra stepped forward and took one hesitantly. She bit into it, and the sweet tart flavor burst in her mouth. A delighted expression spread across her face. She turned to the others and encouraged them to try as well. As they sampled the berries, they began discussing the next phase of their research. Tarek proposed a series of tests to better understand the human's physiological responses to the toxins in the environment. He outlined a plan to analyze blood samples and monitor his reactions to various compounds. They would need to proceed carefully, ensuring Alex's well-being was the priority. Alex listened intently, his expression turning serious. He understood the necessity of the tests but couldn't shake the lingering apprehension about what further experimentation might entail. He was determined to show them the full extent of his resilience, while maintaining a sense of agency over his own body. After some deliberation, he agreed to participate, but with specific conditions. He wanted transparency in every step of the process. Tarek nodded, appreciating Alex's assertiveness. He assured him that they would prioritize his comfort and consent. This agreement marked a turning point in their relationship. A mutual respect had formed, and the researchers were now accountable to their subject, rather than viewing him solely as an object of study. With their plan in place, they set up a makeshift lab within the ship using salvaged equipment from the wreckage. Lyra took the lead on the biological analysis, while other team members gathered the necessary materials from outside. Alex watched as they worked, curious about the technology that facilitated their research. He marveled at their ability to synthesize data and create hypotheses based on their findings. As the day progressed, they began the first round of tests, monitoring Alex's vital signs. As they introduced a controlled amount of toxin derived from the planet's atmosphere, the human remained calm and focused. The researchers observed closely, documenting his reactions with meticulous precision. To their astonishment, Alex's body exhibited rapid adaptations. His heart rate steadied, and his immune responses kicked in almost immediately. The crew exchanged astonished glances, unable to hide their excitement. This was groundbreaking, a living example of human resilience, defying their expectations. With each test, Alex provided insight into his thoughts and feelings, sharing anecdotes about how his body had learned to cope with the harsh conditions of Earth. He spoke of moments of desperation and triumph, recounting how he had pushed through pain and fear to survive. The crew listened with rapt attention, captivated by the strength of his spirit. But as the tests continued, a sense of unease began to creep in among the researchers. They were pushing the boundaries of ethical science in their quest for knowledge, and a growing realization set in that they were not merely studying a subject, but engaging in a profound exploration of life itself. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the landscape, Tarek gathered his team to discuss their findings. The implications of Alex's resilience were immense. They were on the brink of understanding not just human biology, but the very nature of survival in the universe, a journey that could change their perspectives forever. And as they looked at Alex, they saw not just a subject, but a partner in discovery, ready to challenge the limits of existence together. As twilight enveloped the toxic landscape, a surreal calm settled over the crew of the Aurora. They gathered around a makeshift table inside the ship, sharing their latest findings and reflecting on their experiences. With Alex, the atmosphere was charged with excitement and a growing sense of camaraderie. The barriers between species began to dissolve in the glow of shared knowledge and respect. Lyra initiated the discussion, her voice filled with enthusiasm. Our preliminary tests reveal astonishing adaptations. Alex's immune system is functioning at a level we never anticipated. His ability to neutralize toxins is unparalleled. This could redefine our understanding of biological resilience. Tarek nodded, encouraging her to continue. Alex listened intently as they spoke about him. As if he were not present, it struck him that he was more than just a subject. He was a bridge between worlds, a living testament to the triumph of life against adversity. As the researchers continued their analysis, he felt a mixture of pride and vulnerability. They were not just curious observers, they were allies in a quest for understanding. After the meeting, Tarek invited Alex to share his own insights. He urged him to elaborate on his experiences and how he had developed his extraordinary abilities. Alex took a deep breath and began to recount his life on Earth, the tales of his struggles against natural disasters and predatory species, how every challenge had taught him the importance of adaptation and creativity. The crew listened in rapt attention as Alex described a childhood spent learning from nature itself. He spoke of the harsh winters where survival depended on ingenuity, the ingenuity that had propelled humanity forward through countless trials. He emphasized the importance of community, how sharing knowledge and resources made survival possible in the most unforgiving environments. Lyra interjected with a thoughtful expression, "But your resilience seems to go beyond mere adaptation. What drives you to survive? What keeps you pushing forward, even in the darkest moments? Alex paused, considering her question. He realized that it was more than just survival. It was the hope for a better future, the desire to live fully, and to make connections with others despite the odds. His words resonated deeply with the researchers. They saw parallels between Alex's journey and their own struggles in a harsh universe. Their own explorations were fueled by curiosity and a longing to uncover the mysteries of existence. As they shared their experiences, the bond between them strengthened. A tapestry of shared understanding began to form. Inspired by their connection, Tarek proposed a cultural exchange. He suggested they each share their unique histories and achievements. This would not only deepen their understanding of one another, but also enrich their research. They all agreed enthusiastically. The idea sparked a newfound energy in the room. The first night of the cultural exchange was filled with laughter, stories, and revelations. Alex shared tales of Earth's diverse ecosystems, the flora and fauna that had inspired him to survive. He painted vivid images of jungles, mountains, and oceans that thrummed with life. The researchers were captivated by his descriptions and how they contrasted with their own experiences. In return, the Xelarians shared their own stories of exploration, technological marvels, and the wonders of their civilization. They spoke of their homeworld, a place of harmony and progress, and how their species had evolved to thrive in a galaxy filled with dangers. The stories flowed freely, creating a vibrant tapestry of interwoven narratives. As the evening wore on, Alex felt a sense of belonging that he had not experienced in years. He was no longer just a survivor on a toxic planet. He was a valued participant in a shared quest for knowledge, a member of a diverse team united by a common purpose. The bonds of friendship formed in that small ship transcended their differences and fueled their desire to explore the unknown together. The night sky outside shimmered with stars and alien constellations, a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the endless possibilities that lay ahead. As they shared their dreams of exploration and discovery, a sense of hope filled the air. Their journey had only just begun, and together they were ready to face whatever challenges awaited them on this death world and beyond. As the days passed, the atmosphere aboard the Aurora shifted from one of cautious observation to a dynamic partnership. The researchers and Alex delved deeper into their shared exploration of resilience and survival, yet beneath the excitement, a tension began to simmer. The scientists grappled with the ethical implications of their experiments and the potential consequences for their human companion. One evening, after a particularly intense round of testing, Tarek gathered his team to discuss their findings in the ship's makeshift lab. The mood was tense as they reviewed data and observations. While Alex rested in a corner of the room, he sensed the unease in their discussions and felt a tightening in his chest. Lyra broke the silence, her voice tinged with concern. "We are pushing the boundaries of what is ethical with these tests. While the results are astonishing, we must consider the toll this could take on Alex. He is not just a subject, he is a living being." Tarek nodded, thoughtfully aware that the excitement of discovery had overshadowed their initial promise to prioritize Alex's well-being. The room fell silent as the researchers exchanged glances. Alex could feel the weight of their deliberation. He had come to trust them, but the notion of being a mere object of study weighed heavily on his mind. He spoke up, breaking the tension. "I appreciate your dedication to understanding my biology, but I also want to ensure that I'm not just a lab rat in your pursuit of knowledge." His words struck a chord. The researchers felt a mix of guilt and realization. They had been so focused on their findings that they had lost sight of the person at the center of it all. Tarek took a deep breath and addressed the group. "We need to redefine our approach moving forward. We will prioritize Alex's autonomy and comfort in every experiment. He should feel empowered to make decisions about his own body." The team agreed unanimously. This marked a turning point in their relationship with Alex. No longer would they operate under the guise of detached researchers. They would embrace a collaborative spirit, fostering an environment where Alex felt safe to voice his concerns and desires. As the next round of tests approached, Tarek sat down with Alex to discuss the new plan. He laid out their objectives emphasizing that they would move at his pace and respect his boundaries. Alex listened carefully, feeling a renewed sense of agency in the process. He expressed his desire to continue participating, but wanted to focus on understanding how he could further leverage his resilience. In the following days, they shifted their focus from invasive tests to interactive learning sessions. Alex shared techniques and strategies he had developed on Earth. With a renewed sense of purpose, the crew of the Aurora embarked on a series of collaborative sessions aimed at blending their scientific inquiry with Alex's lived experience. They established a new rhythm to their days, focusing on building trust and refining their methods. Alex felt more empowered than ever, and his connection with the researchers deepened as they shared their knowledge and experiences. However, as they grew closer, a troubling thought began to creep into Tarek's mind. The Xelarian Alliance was not known for its ethical considerations when it came to scientific pursuits, and while the team had made a pact to prioritize Alex's autonomy, he knew that external pressures loomed on the horizon. The Alliance would demand results, and he feared the consequences of their unconventional partnership. Late one evening, as the researchers engaged in discussions around the fire inside the ship, Alex spoke about a particularly challenging moment from his past when he had to make a life-or-death decision during a natural disaster. His narrative was gripping and evocative. The crew was captivated by his resilience and strength, but Tarek couldn't shake the growing sense of unease within him. The next morning, Tarek called an emergency meeting with his team. He laid bare his concerns about the potential repercussions of their work and the possibility of being summoned back to the Alliance to report on their findings. He emphasized the importance of protecting Alex from exploitation and how their newfound bond must not become a liability. Lyra looked concerned. "We've come too far to turn back now. We owe it to Alex to continue this research. He has so much to offer. But how do we ensure his safety if the Alliance demands results?" Tarek proposed a radical idea. They could work to prepare Alex for possible scrutiny by the Alliance, even training him on how to present himself if needed. It was a delicate plan, but it might be their only way to shield him from potential harm. After much deliberation, the team agreed to Tarek's proposal. They began to devise a plan to educate Alex on the intricacies of Xelarian culture and the expectations he might face should they be forced to return home. This would involve mock interviews, where he could practice responding to questions about his resilience and adaptability. As they set about this new course of action, Alex felt a mix of gratitude and apprehension. He appreciated their concern, but the thought of being scrutinized by the Alliance filled him with dread. Still, he was determined to stand alongside his new friends and ensure that his story was told on his own terms. The training sessions were intense yet supportive. Tarek and Lyra played the roles of stern Alliance representatives, asking probing questions while the other researchers observed closely. Alex handled the practice interviews with surprising poise. He tapped into the strength he had developed over years of survival, crafting his narrative with confidence and clarity. As they progressed, Alex began to feel more equipped to face the unknown challenges that lay ahead. He shared his fears with the team, and they offered reassurances, emphasizing that they would be by his side. No matter what happened, their unwavering support bolstered his resolve and strengthened their collective bond. One afternoon, as they took a break from training, Tarek approached Alex privately. He expressed his admiration for how far Alex had come in such a short time, and acknowledged the sacrifices he had made to help the team. The sincerity in Tarek's voice reassured Alex. He knew he was not just a subject, but a valued partner in their shared journey. But the weight of the situation pressed heavily on Alex's mind. He wondered what the future would hold for him, and whether the Alliance would truly understand the essence of resilience and survival that he embodied. As the days turned into weeks, they continued their preparations with a growing sense of urgency. The looming possibility of returning to the Xelarian homeworld cast a long shadow over their collaboration. On the final night before their scheduled departure, Alex gathered with the crew under the stars. The night sky shimmered with distant galaxies as they shared their hopes and fears for the journey ahead. Tarek raised a glass to their partnership, to the knowledge they had gained, and to the enduring spirit of survival that connected them all. They pledged to protect one another and face whatever came their way, united as friends and allies, ready to navigate the uncertain future together. As dawn broke over the toxic landscape, the crew of the Aurora prepared for what they knew would be a pivotal moment in their journey. Tarek stood at the ship's helm, staring out at the alien horizon. He could feel the weight of anticipation and anxiety settling in the pit of his stomach. Today, they would initiate contact with the Solarian Alliance and face the reality of their unconventional research. The atmosphere inside the ship was charged with nervous energy. As the researchers gathered for their final briefing, Alex sat among them, acutely aware of the importance of the day ahead. He felt a mix of determination and apprehension. The thought of being scrutinized by the Alliance was daunting, but he also understood the opportunity it presented to share his story. Tarek outlined their plan carefully. They would present their findings and Alex's resilience in a way that highlighted his agency and contributions. He encouraged the team to emphasize their ethical approach to research and how they had built a partnership based on trust and mutual respect with Alex. As the ship prepared for launch, Tarek checked the communication systems, ensuring they were functional, while Lyra went over the data they had compiled. Everything had to be perfect. The stakes were high and failure could lead to dire consequences for Alex and the entire team. With the final checks complete, the Aurora lifted off from the toxic surface and ascended into the void of space. Alex felt a rush of exhilaration as they broke free from the planet's atmosphere. Looking down at the vibrant landscape below, a part of him felt a pang of sadness, leaving behind the world where he had fought so hard to survive, but another part of him was ready to embrace the unknown. As they traveled through the stars, Tarek initiated contact with the Alliance. They established a communication link, and soon their superior appeared on the screen, a stern-looking Solarian named Commander Vorel. The tension in the room escalated as they awaited his response. The commander's piercing gaze swept over the crew before settling on Alex, who sat prominently among them. Tarek began the presentation, outlining their objectives and the innovative findings regarding human resilience. He carefully articulated the ethical considerations they had implemented in their research, ensuring that Alex's autonomy was at the forefront of their discussions. Vorel listened intently, but his expression remained inscrutable. When Tarek finished, he gestured toward Alex, inviting him to share his story. Alex felt a rush of nerves, but he reminded himself of the support surrounding him. He took a deep breath and spoke clearly, recounting his experiences on Earth and the challenges he had faced. He emphasized the lessons he had learned about resilience, adaptation, and the importance of community. As he spoke, Vorel's expression shifted subtly. The commander's gaze softened slightly, and the atmosphere in the room shifted. The tension that had filled the space began to dissipate as Alex poured his heart into his narrative. He connected the dots between his life on Earth and the research the crew had conducted together, illustrating the profound bond they had formed. When Alex finished, there was a brief silence as the weight of his words settled in the air. Tarek and the rest of the crew held their breath, waiting for Vorel's response. The commander leaned back in his chair, stroking his chin thoughtfully. After a moment, he spoke. "Your findings are impressive. I commend your approach to this research and your ethical considerations in this matter." Relief washed over the crew, but Vorel continued with a more serious tone. "However, we are still bound by the protocols of the Alliance, and we must evaluate the implications of your research further. This will require a thorough review and additional oversight." Alex's heart sank at the prospect of further scrutiny, but he steeled himself for what was to come. The team rallied around him, providing silent support as Vorel outlined the next steps. The process would involve a committee to oversee their research and ensure that Alex's well-being remained a priority during any future studies. As the meeting concluded, the crew shared glances of tentative optimism. They had managed to present their case and secure a measure of protection for Alex. Though the path ahead remained uncertain, they had taken a crucial step together. They had woven their narratives into a tapestry of understanding that transcended species. As they descended back toward the planet to await the Alliance's decision, Alex felt a swell of gratitude toward his newfound friends. They had stood by him through every trial and challenge, and together they had forged a connection that would forever change their lives. The stars above shone brightly, a testament to the possibilities that lay ahead and the adventure that was still unfolding in a universe filled with uncertainty and hope. As the Aurora descended through the atmosphere of the toxic planet, the crew braced themselves for the next phase of their journey. The air was thick with anticipation and uncertainty. Alex sat at the table with Tarek and Lyra, reviewing the data they had presented to the Alliance. The atmosphere felt electric with possibilities, yet weighed down by the looming scrutiny they would face from the Oversight Committee. After landing, the team gathered to discuss their strategy for the next steps. Tarek emphasized the importance of maintaining transparency with the committee, ensuring that their partnership with Alex remained at the forefront of their discussions. He knew that their approach would need to be clear and consistent to safeguard against any potential misinterpretations. Alex felt a mix of pride and anxiety. He was ready to face the committee, but the thought of being subjected to more invasive scrutiny made his heart race. He appreciated Tarek's insistence on protecting his autonomy, but the uncertainty still lingered like a shadow over their heads. He looked around at the team, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude for their support and camaraderie. In the days that followed, the crew prepared for the committee's arrival. They worked diligently to refine their presentation, compiling the data that showcased Alex's resilience and the unique insights he had offered during their time together. Each member took turns practicing their speeches, reinforcing the importance of Alex's voice in the narrative. Finally, the day of the committee's arrival arrived. The atmosphere inside the ship was tense as they awaited the Xelarian representatives, who would evaluate their research and determine its future. Alex stood alongside the researchers, feeling the weight of their shared mission. He understood the stakes involved and was determined to advocate for himself and for the bond they had formed. When the committee arrived, they were greeted by a panel of serious-looking Xelarians who wasted no time in diving into the presentation. Tarek took the lead, outlining their research approach and the ethical considerations they had employed throughout the process. He was meticulous in his explanations, ensuring that every detail reflected their commitment to Alex's autonomy. As the discussion progressed, the panel posed challenging questions, probing the team's methodologies and the implications of their findings. Alex listened intently, taking mental notes on how to address the committee's concerns. When it was his turn to speak, he felt a surge of determination rise within him. When Tarek motioned for him to share his perspective, Alex stood up, facing the panel with confidence. He articulated his experiences on Earth, emphasizing the lessons he had learned about resilience and the importance of connection. He spoke passionately about the bond he had formed with the crew, how their partnership had transformed his understanding of survival and trust. The committee members exchanged glances as Alex spoke. They seemed captivated by his narrative. The authenticity of his emotions resonated deeply, and for the first time, the rigid atmosphere of the room began to shift. Alex could see the impact of his story unfold before him. After he finished speaking, there was a moment of silence in the room. Then one of the committee members, a female Xelarian with deep-set eyes, leaned forward. "Your account is compelling. Your resilience is remarkable. It is clear that you and the researchers have forged a unique partnership that should be recognized." Encouraged by her words, the panel continued to engage in a dialogue with Alex and the team. They posed thoughtful questions, exploring the implications of their findings and discussing the potential for future research. Alex felt a sense of relief wash over him as they navigated the conversation with mutual respect and understanding. As the meeting concluded, the committee made a surprising announcement. They would endorse the continuation of the research under strict ethical guidelines, emphasizing that Alex's voice would remain integral to the studies moving forward. The team erupted into cheers. A wave of elation swept through them as they celebrated this unexpected victory. In the days that followed, the crew and Alex worked diligently to finalize their plans for further research. They were determined to push the boundaries of understanding, while safeguarding the ethical principles they had established together. Their bond had grown stronger through the challenges they had faced, and they knew they could navigate whatever lay ahead. As the sun set over the toxic landscape once more, Alex gazed up at the stars alongside his friends. The universe felt vast and filled with possibility. They had embarked on a journey that transcended their differences and had forged a connection that would last a lifetime. In that moment, they understood that resilience was not just about survival, but about the relationships they nurtured and the stories they shared, a celebration of life in all its complexities, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them in the great unknown.